everybody. Welcome into another edition of Rink Report, this time from Hershey, Pennsylvania. I'm Katie Florio, joined alongside Tarek El-Bashir, as always, and we're so pleased to have the voice of the Hershey Bears, Zach Fish, with us today. Zach, thanks for doing this. Know it's been a busy day for you, a busy season, but always appreciate any time we can come on up to Hershey, hear how you all are doing. So take us through what the first half of your season has been like so far.
Good having the Rink Report back here in Chocolate Town. Second half of the season is here for the Hershey Bears. It's been an exciting start to the season for the Bears. A lot of transition, a lot of young players, and it's a different group this year than we've seen with the veteran-laden bunch, new coach and Derek King. I think the team got off to a pretty good start to the season overall. A little growing pains in the first month, but real good month of November before December, kind of those growing pains caught up to the team a little bit. So seeing young players in huge roles. The team's in the middle of the pack right now in the Atlantic Division, but Andrew Crystal, Ilya Protas, particularly two guys I'm sure we'll talk about a lot, and I know AC is going to join you guys in a bit, but they're leading the way up front, and it's nice to see those young players, the future of the Caps, getting a lot of ice time here.
What is Coach King's biggest challenge with a young roster?
I think it's just ultimately the consistency. That's what makes a player a National Hockey League player. You hear it so many times, whether it be Spencer Carberry when he was down here, Scotty Allen in between, or even Todd Nelson recently. Players have to be consistent to take that next step to the National Hockey League. And that goes hand in hand with coming from juniors to the American Hockey League. The jump is a lot bigger than people think. They see Andrew Crystal score 132 points and go, this guy's going to light the world on fire. Well, he's done that a lot in the points department. He's already over 30 halfway through the season. There's a lot that goes into the game consistently night in and night out, being a 200-foot player. You guys have seen it from Spencer Carberry. He wants that. So it's teaching those guys that
reliability.
Side.
That's the word
you got to be reliable, no doubt. And that starts down here in Hershey. And it takes time for guys to get that. Ethan Frank's a great example, older player. Took him a while to find it here. Took him a while to find it there. It does take a bit, but I think just that consistency night in and night out and being 200-foot players for some of these young teams, getting those young mistakes, youthful mistakes out of your game ultimately results in wins and losses one way or the other.
Where do you feel like those guys, whether it's Ilya Protas, Andrew Crystal, or someone else, where have they improved the most from coming in September, October to now?
I would say for Andrew Crystal, it's the 200-foot game for sure. Mm-hmm. For me, he was a guy in October that Coach King was saying in his post-game press conferences, he gets his points, but he's still got a long way to go. And for a guy that, from a Capitals perspective, almost made the team last year and then had a really good camp this past season, you're going, all right, where is he actually in his development if the coach here is saying he's got a long way to go? But it was true on the boards, his play on the walls, getting pucks in, getting pucks out, being just a guy that you could rely on in the last 2 minutes of a game to put out there and seal it for you. He wasn't quite there yet. He's taken huge strides in that department. We've seen more and more from him out there in key situations, elevated in the lineup, top power play unit, and he's picking up his points too. So that's only going to improve as the season goes on. As for Ilya, I really think this is a dynamic elite player. The best 19-year-old I've seen in my time here.
Wow.
Pretty impressive
High
with
praise.
everything he can do. As big as he is, his hands are incredible. And I didn't know he quite had that in his toolbox. He put up a lot of points last year, but how does it translate to the pro ranks? He's doing things with the puck, putting it between his legs, gorgeous assists that I didn't think that he could do with that wingspan. So I really like what I've seen from him. He's just gained that confidence, and it's just bringing it night in and night out. Now, he's getting huge minutes for a 19-year-old. If he's not going, the team's probably not going that night, just because of how important he is. But little things in his game, face-offs and such, still working on just the strength and being consistent in his game. But he's been really, really impressive and an all-star because of that.
Well, Zach, I'm glad you're sitting down because I'm about to give you some really bad news.
Oh, boy.
We're not giving you Ethan Frank back.
I know.
He's an NHL player now. He's about to become a millionaire, too.
Yeah, we miss him here in Hershey. And I think if you look at it for what are challenges from Coach King, you traditionally have really good veteran players or guys that are established in the American League. Ethan Frank started the year here, 2 goals in his first game. That's 35 to 40 goals probably here in the American Hockey League if he's here all season. That's now up in the NHL. Sheldon Rempel is another one the Caps signed. He's gone overseas, probably a 30-goal scorer. That's a lot of pucks in the back of the net that Hershey doesn't have that they anticipated at the start of the year. That happens in the American Hockey League. You see it everywhere, but we couldn't be happier for Ethan Frank's success and add him to the long list of Calder Cup champions that have gone up and are helping the Caps now.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you about Ryan Chesley, who we're also going to hear from later. Where have you seen him make his biggest strides this season?
I think for him, he came in realizing that this was the next step in his career and went out and played freely and put up some points and had some success. and then how many games you play smacks you in the face a little bit. And just night in and night out, how quick this league is, how big and strong the guys are, and the little things that you have to do in your game, it catches up to you pretty quick after that initial excitement wears off. So he had some up and down times. His plus minus is not where he wants it, but he's been playing with Aaron Ness. Analytically, I know he's doing some good things. He can skate, and he had a situation. We've seen coaches in Hershey do it with approval from the Capitals. Sit a player, have him watch up top. And he had one of those games where he was not in the lineup. They've done that with all the young defensemen. There's just too many of them to play him every night. He watched, and I think he's been a lot better since that. Starting to find that offensive mojo a little bit and just being more confident with the puck. You got to move it quick at this level. You got to defend in front of your goal and be good at boxing guys out, getting sticks in front. Little things like that maybe he was lacking at certain points of the season. He's starting to show big strides in. So we talked at the beginning of the year when you guys were here, maybe he's the most ready prospect of them all. I would say it's shuffled a little bit, and he's battling with Cam Allen and David Gucciardi defensively for that. But there's a reason the Caps like him. There's a reason he's a gold medalist in the World Juniors. When he's on his game, we've seen what he can do.
Well, we had the pleasure of speaking with Ryan earlier today. Had a great conversation with him. We're now pleased to welcome in Ryan Chesley. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us today. First full year pro, about halfway through. You just said it's flying by, but all in all, take us through what this first season has been like for you.
It's been great so far. You know, we have a great group of guys here. They've helped me out a lot on and off the ice. Obviously, there have been some ups and downs, but overall, it's been pretty good, and it's been a lot of fun.
What's been the biggest adjustment going from NCAA to the pros?
I'd say just how fast the game is. All the guys are strong, mature, and they play such a physical game.
So then tell me, what's the biggest adjustment off the ice? Because, you know, in college, they do a lot for you. Here, you're kind of on your own a little bit, right?
Yeah, honestly, I'll just say, like, on the road, like, there's no real, like, team meals. Like, you're going on your own with a group of guys to go eat, which is fun. I love that. Just a little different than college.
Yeah. So you're living with Andrew Crystal. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's a great guy, obviously a great player too. But no, it's fun living with him. We have some good times at the house for sure.
Do you have to, like, what was life like, I guess, on your own for the first time? The other guys, Ilya, telling us they're building furniture. They're trying to figure out, you know, how this thing works, carpooling, just kind of the everyday stuff that comes with being on your own now.
It's honestly been pretty easy for us. We found a place that was already furnished. We didn't have to deal with the furniture, which we loved. Didn't want to do that. No, we both have a car here, so we haven't had to carpool much or anything. But yeah, it's been pretty easy.
As you've made that jump from college to the pros now, like we said, about at the halfway mark of this season, where do you feel like maybe your game has improved or areas that have sort of slowed down for you?
Yeah, I feel like honestly it's grown in the sense that I've matured knowing in situations when to do things, when not to do things. You know, and that's been a credit to the coaches and a lot of the players too, the older guys like Aaron Ness, Louis Belpedio. They've helped a lot in those situations.
Great guys to learn from. But I want to hear more about living with Andrew Crystal. Who cooks?
We both do.
Okay.
We actually both cook a lot. You know, sometimes we'll go out to eat, but we're honestly both pretty good cooks.
Okay, so if it's your turn tonight, like, what's the go-to?
Tonight, I don't know. Like last night, I made steak.
All right.
We did separate meals. So he made, I think, salmon and pasta. I went with steak and asparagus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't cook for each other. You kind of do your own thing?
We have before,
okay.
But a lot of times we just do kind of whatever we're feeling.
That's awesome.
With the Capitals, we have a few. Ryan Leonard and Pierre-Luc Dubois lived together at the beginning of the year, and they were telling me they weren't just roommates, but they really did. Like at nights, they'd watch games, they'd talk about it. Like, do you two still do that together? And how much are you talking the game at home?
I wouldn't say we talk a ton about the game at home. Obviously, we're different positions, so maybe we have different views on the game, but we'll watch a bunch of NHL games together and talk about that stuff. You know, both of us have a lot of friends that are in the league, so we watch those games and have fun with that.
So you're obviously a prospect the Capitals hold in high regard. What is the one thing you feel like you need to show the coaches up there in order to get that first call up?
I think the one thing is that they can rely on me in any situation. I tend to think that's one of the strong points of my game, that you can put me out in any situation and just be a reliable defenseman out there.
Carberry loves that word. He uses reliability a lot when he's talking about young players.
Yeah, I feel like, that's one thing coming from college that it's different. We play 72 games here. It's a big adjustment. You got to bring it every night, so that consistency has been a big challenge for sure.
Like physically, like I imagine you had to get stronger, but like just in terms of conditioning, going from playing 35 games in college to now playing almost twice as many in the pros. What has that been like?
Yeah, it's been hard, especially with a lot of travel in there too. So you have a bunch of days where you can't really get much in there, but you really have to make the days count where you can get in some extra conditioning, extra work in, and put it in there.
You mentioned some of the older guys on this team too. Obviously, a big young core of prospects, things like that. But how much have you leaned on some of those vets on this team to show you the way both on and off the ice? And like you said, just the grind that now comes with being a professional.
A lot, for sure. I've been D partners with Aaron Ness for most of the year, and he's been great. I talked to him at the rink about hockey, about life, about anything. He's got a different situation away from the rink. Obviously, he's got 3 kids. Doesn't
I
get as
covered
much
him.
sleep
That's how
as
old
me.
I am. I covered him in Washington.
Yeah, so he lives a different life outside of it, but he remembers the days when he was in my position,
Sure.
so he helps me a lot in those areas.
It's funny, in Washington, the Capitals usually like to put new players and young players with John Carlson, a guy who knows the system inside and out and just knows everything about the league. I got to imagine, like, when you're sitting on the bench, Aaron's just telling you, little corrections of what just happened and maybe what to look for on the next shift, right?
Yeah, he's been great. Definitely. He tells me what to improve on, just little things, little details. He also tells me if I do something great to keep doing that and make sure that's a detail every game, every play.
Positive reinforcement is huge for young players. Yeah.
What are you looking forward to most throughout now second half of the season? You guys have been on a roll here as of lately, and just anything that sort of excites you as we get into that second half.
Yeah, a lot of games coming up. It's just it's always fun playing games. I don't know, like practice gets a little boring sometimes when you have the whole week to do that, but I love playing games, so it'll be fun.
So your roommates with Andrew, Ilya Protas is lighting it up. Like, who's the hardest guy to face in practice?
Oh, that's tough. We got a lot of guys. I would probably say Pro. He's just he's got such a long reach, big body, so he's got great hands too. It's tough to defend.
Yeah, we're going to drop the little pro from him pretty soon. Like, he was one of the first guys on the ice, so I was like, oh my God, he looks like he grew another inch
There's
since we saw him.
nothing little about him.
Yeah.
From, again, a prospect pool standpoint, there's so many of you sort of on a similar timeline, hopefully get to Washington at the same time one day. So how beneficial do you think it is now to be able to start building these relationships and this chemistry as you all hopefully grow together?
I think it's great. If that situation works out how it does, that would be unbelievable. We've already grown together as a group on and off the ice. So it's been great to see us connect more and more throughout the year.
Yeah, Ryan, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
you
me.
doing this. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Well, guys, that was a great conversation with Ryan. Really, really good to hear from him. Get to know him a little bit more.
One thing I'm always curious about when it comes to the guys down here in Hershey, they often pair off or have 3 roommates or a bunch of guys are in one apartment together. How does that come about? Do the guys start the year? Do you help them kind of find guys that they might live okay with?
That has happened before, and sometimes it's just natural. These guys oftentimes come in because of years of development camp or USA, different camps that they've had, or Canada, whatever it might be. They must have a buddy that they're with coming in. I remember years ago it was Connor Hobbs and Colby Williams. They were already connected, or Beck Malenstein and Garrett Pilon.
Okay.
So we've kind of seen it for a few of them that before they even get here, they're linked at the hip with another guys. And sometimes there's a guy that might be, hey, a lone wolf that's just looking for somebody, and they jump in on it. And we get fun stories like Papa Bogey driving the guys around. So it's unique how it goes. Every situation's a little bit different, but sometimes we see these duos before they even make it here to Hershey.
That's funny.
How fun is that development part? Yes, they're professional hockey players, but like you said, some of these guys are still in their teens. And so for you, getting to see them sort of come into their own, become men, things like that, how much off the ice training and guidance and help do they still need?
They need a lot of it. No, no, just they're so young sometimes that you forget that. I think we did a 90s night this year, and no one knew what a VHS was. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm older than them. I know I'm a few years away from hitting the big 4-0, but holy cow, we don't know what that is. So forget some of these guys were born in 2006. I mean, they're young players on their own for the first time. I think there's a lot of really good hockey players and a lot of guys that are really street smart, but a lot of them are at the pro ranks for the first time and need to know what nutrition is good for them. That's why they have a strength and conditioning coach, and they have folks down here to guide them. So when they leave the rink, they do everything that's right to get their bodies ready for the next day.
And that's why it's so important to have guys like Aaron Ness around, too. I mean, I'm sure he's a coach on the bench when it comes to Ryan Chesley, but I'm sure they have questions about stuff off the ice. And you got a guy who's got kids, he's got a family, he's been through this. He can probably help them in that area, too, right?
You need those good veterans, and Hershey has always done a good job in conjunction with Washington bringing them in, because they can grab those guys and pull them aside and help them on the ice, but off the ice stuff is so big for them as well. Aaron Ness is a great leader. He played in Washington. He knows what it takes to make the NHL. He also knows, as a high draft pick, some of the trials and tribulations you can go through to try to make that jump as a full-timer. So especially for the young defenseman, to have a guy like him, that is huge, to be that guiding factor for many of them. But you need those players that can say, hey, look, this is the best restaurant in town, or this is a spot that no one's going to bug you. Come on over here and we'll get you in and we'll get you set up, or try this workout plan, whatever it may be. There's always guiding factors outside the bench bosses, and those veterans, and having really good veterans like we've seen here in Hershey, the Dylan McElraths of the world, that can take that step and play in the NHL if need be too, but also guide these kids is huge.
You talk about times changing. How about Ryan mentioning HelloFresh? That's what he says Andrew Crystal uses. You've heard of the food service, right? Like, did they have that back 20 years ago? No.
No, and I would like to say that, I haven't heard of HelloFresh and that I'm the best chef in the world, but that might be my best friend sometimes to help out those services. If not, I'm going to steal and pretend my wife's cooking is my own. But yeah, these guys, they got so many more resources for them now. This is a tight-knit community. That's what's special about Hershey, is there are different restaurants, places, organizations that want to help these guys out, and our team services guy Kyle Harris does a great job leading them to the right places, and there's a plan in place for them when they leave. I know Mike Wagner, who works with the Capitals now, our old strength and conditioning coach here, does a great job up top. Always used to say these guys are high performance sports cars, and while they're here, we can make sure they're putting the premium gasoline in them. It's outside the rink, making sure that they're still doing the same. So there's a lot of different resources provided to make sure that they're doing that outside of the actual 4 hours they spend a day.
Well, great to see the relationship that Ryan and Andrew have started to build as roommates. And we also got Andrew's take on life with Ryan. We're now pleased to welcome in Andrew Crystal. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us today. Always good to see you, get to chat. But first, we just talked to your roomie, Ryan Chesley. Didn't know you guys were living together. Give us a little bit of dirt on you, especially the cooking. So how's life with him and on your own?
Yeah, it's good. I'm not ashamed. I don't know what he said, but I get my my HelloFresh orders for the week, and I cook it up. But he's kind of a one meal man, I'd say. A lot of steak from him. I'm not sure if he's got a broad appetite. So I've tried to broaden my horizons a bit, so I'll try and get him to work on it.
I mean, you guys, assumingly you have one kitchen. Like, how are you not cooking for each other?
Yeah, I don't really know. It was before when Ludwig person, he was living with us before, and he was a pretty amazing chef, so he'd cook it up for us, and me and Ryan are not too good, so I don't know if either of us trust us with the other person's dish, to be honest. So we've been doing it separate for a bit.
Things seem a little maybe more chill with you guys too. He said your apartment was furnished, unlike the Ilias and the Matejos and everyone who had to run to IKEA and they're trying to build this and that. It was a whole
Papa
thing.
Bogey.
So
no, that was huge. We definitely wanted a place that already came furnished, so we didn't have to be running around. We heard all the stories from those guys about renting furniture, buying furniture, and throwing in their car and assembling it and stuff. We just walked in and it was all ready for us, so it was perfect.
All right, let's talk hockey now. How would Andrew Crystal assess Andrew Crystal's first half of the season? Yeah,
I think there's been a lot of growth for sure. I think that's kind of the main thing I'd say is growth. I think my game's gotten a lot better in the 200-foot area, while still being able to produce a little bit, and just getting more comfortable by the day, and feeling good out there.
First year pro, leading the team in points. When we talk to guys like Ryan Leonard and even Justin Sordiff with the Capitals, they say October compared to now, the game has slowed down for them so much. How do you feel like in this first year pro, it's slowed down for you here?
Yeah, I definitely kind of say the same. I think at the start it's super fast. It's maybe a little bit of whirlwind. You're always kind of on your toes, and I think I've definitely settled in, and the game's a little bit slower for sure, and I feel a little bit more confident with the puck and making my reads and things like that. So it's obviously been the help with some pretty good line mates to play with, but I think it's been a lot of growth this year.
Yeah, word is you've really improved your own play in the D zone. How does that process work? I mean, going through video with coaches, just watching it and the game slowing down in your head, how have you made those steps forward?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of everything. Definitely with the coaches showing me video and kind of letting me know little cues and where to be on the ice. And then, I mean, at this level as well, you make one mistake, you're not in the right position, it's going to be a goal. So I think that's been a big thing. Maybe, in junior, you can get away with a couple things, but definitely not at this level or in the NHL. So I think, if I keep cleaning it up and keep working on it, it's only going to help me.
How's your relationship with guys like Eric Smateko and Ilya Protas and this core group of you continued to progress over the course of the season? Yeah,
it's awesome. We have a really good friendship, a really good bond. I think all of us, there's a ton of rookies, young guys on this team. So, we all have each other to lean on. And, obviously such awful news for Erickson. We're all trying to be there for him and help him out in whatever way we can. But, it's a pretty special team we got and a special group of young guys.
So you've been racking up the assists. You got some goals too. I imagine they want you to shoot the puck a little bit more and try to start scoring a little bit more. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to start shooting the puck a bit more, scoring. I don't think it's for a lack of chances. I think, I'm starting to finish on a couple. So
great.
That's been good. I think my game has definitely always been maybe a little bit pass first and more of a playmaker. I like kind of setting other guys up and seeing them score. But, I think it's definitely an element that, I want to bring even more of and hopefully put some more pucks in the back of the net.
Over the course of a 72-game season here, how do you feel, maybe not the fatigue, but just truly now the grind of a professional schedule, whether it's your body, your mind, tired, all that kind of stuff? How does that all sort of play a role into shaping you as an athlete?
Yeah, it's huge. I think it kind of just shows the importance of recovery and doing the right things with, your body. And when you get away from the rink, what are you doing so you can, make sure you're ready to go for the next game. And, I was lucky enough to play junior, which we had 68 games. So this is obviously a next level with, the physicality and the style of play. But, it's definitely a learning experience that I had before that I kind of bring into this year.
So I asked Chesley the same question. Like, if there was one thing you feel like you need to show Coach Carberry and the guys in DC that you've made a big strides in to get that first call up, what is that one thing?
Yeah, I think it's kind of that 200-foot game like I was kind of talking about. I think, little plays on the wall, getting pucks out and making reads defensively. I think, in the training camps or preseason games I've been up there, I've, shown the offense I can do and kind of that style of play. And I think, if I could show that they can really trust me and get me on the ice, that'll help me a long way.
Like you said, a very young, rookie-oriented team. How have some of the vets on this team helped you all, both on and off the ice this year?
Yeah, they've been so awesome. Starting with Nestor, obviously, and then all the other older guys that we got. It's a pretty special group, and they're just so welcoming, so nice. They're always kind of showing us the ropes and giving us some chirps here and there, and it's been really fun. And I feel definitely a part of the team.
So, kind of a rough start for the team. But it seems like you guys are starting to find your game. Going to be in the playoff hunt here. What are you looking forward to in the second half from the Bears?
Yeah, I think just the grind of it all and kind of banding together as a team, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. These are kind of positions that you want to be in. Obviously, you would like to be higher in the standings, but to be in the hunt and to try and get in the playoffs is awesome. And to be able to play meaningful games, especially as a young guy in this league and with all the other guys that we have, I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a big learning experience.
What's the hardest thing for you making that jump from junior where you were just totally dominant to a league where these guys feed their family playing hockey?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's kind of just, the older players. A lot of them, some of them have the dad strength on me. I don't got that. So, it's just, a lot more physical, faster. I think me and all the other young guys as well have been adjusting pretty well. And, just kind of got to look to get it going. But, maybe the age and the dad strength got me a little bit.
Are you finding more time? Now that you're a pro and you don't have to worry about classes or anything else, finding more time to spend in the gym and working on your game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've definitely gotten stronger this year. And, a lot of credit to Curtis who works with us and, always make sure we get in the gym after games and, doesn't let us slack off at all. So it's been really nice. And, it's been awesome. I've definitely seen a little bit of growth there for sure.
Still working with Wendy?
She's been out here a lot in the first half, and it's been great. She's always, super positive, enthusiastic, and always working with us and getting us to do some crazy stuff out there. So
with the metronome going?
We've been doing that. So, it's been good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Been through a few development camps, things like that. By this point, how's your relationship with Washington continued to progress?
It's great. I think, there's a ton of player development guys that come here all the time, and they're always kind of watching games, talking to us, and kind of just being there for to be someone to talk to, or if they see something, if we see something, want to get it off our chest. So it's been a really good relationship, and excited to keep it going.
Well, thanks, Andrew. Really appreciate your time today, and best of luck in the second half of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate Andrew's time as always, as we welcome you back in with some new headgear. This is perfect. I've been freezing all day, so I love it.
I love the logo. Whose idea was that?
So this is the Screaming Bear logo, a play on the Screaming Eagle that's so popular for the Capitals. 20 years of the affiliation this year with the Washington Capitals and Hershey Bears. 05-06 was the first year they linked up. So much to celebrate with all the Calder Cups, 5 of them, and then a Stanley Cup in Hershey as well, with a lot of guys going up and contributing. So kind of morphing the Screaming Eagle and what it would look like as a bear. The jerseys look like the Capitals Screaming Eagle jerseys. March 15th, we're wearing them one last time. We're doing 4 Capitals nights. So this was a giveaway earlier this year. You guys look good in it representing. So bring the Caps and Bears together as if we went a little different logo with our direction.
So when we pulled up, some of your players were getting out of the car, and we saw Eric Smatejko. He was on a little push scooter and needed some crutches and some help from Ilya Protas. Obviously had his Achilles sliced. He's going to miss the Olympics. Just how disappointing is that for the organization, for him, and how is he doing?
Yeah, he's doing well and in good spirits. Just had a chance to kind of briefly chat with him the other day, and it's so disappointing because he was named to the Olympic team at 20. Probably was going as an extra is what he told us, but that experience to soak it all in. He was playing well for us too. Not a lot of points, but in a good defensive-minded role and looking to add a little bit more as he adjusted. Wise beyond his years for a kid of that age, but freak accident. Player just kind of collided with him. Initially, everyone thought, including our training staff, coaching staff, that he'd lost his skate blade because of the way he was trying to push on the ice, and realized it was a pretty serious injury. So surgery was successful. The timeline's obviously into next year, but for a guy that just had a dream at 20 years old taken away from him, he's in good spirits, and I have no doubt he'll be back next season.
I had a chance to sit down with him at development camp this past year. Like you said, for how young he is, such a just smart, well-spoken guy, and obviously there's really no positives from this, but if you're trying to put it in a positive light, do you think adversity like this, you face it young, but you overcome it? Do you think it's something he's thinking, okay, if I can get through this, I can get through anything? I
think so. I mean, you don't ever want to have an injury that's long-term, right? Like that. But if you do, you want to get it out of the way, I think, fairly early while you're young, while your body can recover, while you're at your peak. And him, it's going to be around the team. He's going to be here for the rest of the year as the plan still be around the guys, rehab, work with the doctors here in Hershey, and be part of that camaraderie and continue to watch video and see how he can help with the little things in his game and be hopefully bigger and stronger when he gets back next year. But from that perspective, you never want to have an injury, but he's so young that he's got a lot of time to heal up from it. His body will do its thing, and I know he's ready to take that next step.
So while we're talking about prospects, we got to bring up the Capitals' #1 prospect, Cole Hudson, who's tearing it up at BU. Any chance he's going to be here in Hershey to help the playoff push, or do you think he goes straight to Washington if and when he signs?
Well, that would be nice to have him here in Hershey. we would not complain about that in the slightest. You look at impact players that have been brought in over the years, like Jacob Marana back in the day comes in late, and sometimes guys just jump right in and make that impact. I think he's a guy that's in the Ryan Leonard category that Washington thinks could jump right in and help them immediately. What he's doing there this year seems to show that. What he did last year seems to show that. So selfishly, we would take him. There's probably an argument to be made. Where would Ryan Leonard, as great of a year as he's having, be now? Had maybe he jumped into Hershey last season and gone on a long playoff run rather than go to Washington? It's a debate you can have, but I think it's working out pretty well with him being a contributor up for the Capitals. So you can't argue if that's the way that they go. But I would say he's on Derek King's wish list. I would put it that way as far as things go.
Looking ahead now to the second half of this season, you guys have gained some traction in the standings. What are you looking for out of this Bears team to continue to push here and hopefully go on a long playoff run?
Yeah, it's a young group, and there's still growing pains that are going to happen. I think the biggest thing for me is seeing some guys take the next step. And we've seen Andrew Crystal start to take that step. He talked about it, where his game's at now. We know what Ilya Protas can do, but some of the other players that maybe aren't the prospects that are at the top of the list that are looking to separate themselves from others. Alex Suzdalev, a guy that's been around for a while, incredibly skilled, starting to pick up some points. Can he find a regular spot in the lineup? Who defensively is going to rise to the top that the coaches can't take him out, whether that be Allen, Gucciardi, Chesley, and solidify that spot night in and night out. And goaltending as well. It's been a bit of a question mark. Clay Stevenson obviously is the #3 for the organization, but Garen Bjorklund struggled a little bit after a hot start, got sent down to South Carolina just to get his mojo back. And Mitch Gibson, who's no longer on an NHL deal, on an AHL deal now, has really impressed and come up here. So which one of those guys is going to be the guy, and which one of the two fighting for maybe the number 4 spot for the Capitals is really going to grab the organization's attention.
So while we're talking about goaltending, let's talk a little bit about Clay Stevenson. 913 save percentage. Seems like he's having a good year. What have you seen from him, and what does he still need to show?
Yeah, I think he's had a good year overall. He's kept the Bears in games where they may have lost. The workload has been heavier for the goaltenders this year maybe than it was in the past couple of years. Hershey, traditionally, with the veteran team they had, was one of the lowest shots against in the league the last handful of years. So the goalies had to do their job, but now they're being heavily tested, more 35, 40 shots a night. On average, it's less than that, but we've seen more of that of late. So they have to be good. I think they've gotten the Bears points. I look at the game in Charlotte. Hershey played this past weekend. Tied game. Hershey came all the way back. They're down 3-1. The offense does their thing. Clay kept a minute. He makes a fantastic timely save to force overtime. Andrew Crystal scores the winner. So we're seeing more of those huge timely saves for him. It's been a bit of a roller coaster win-loss record-wise. He won 6 straight, then he lost 5 in a row. Wasn't necessarily at fault for any of those. So I think the Caps are comfortable with him as their number 3 goaltender. We've seen what they think of him. We saw the buzz about was he going to get claimed on waivers. So organizationally, they know that he's a guy that has some interest and can come up and play at that NHL level. So again, for him, I think it's just completely grabbing the reins here in the second half of the year. Hunter Shepard's not here anymore. He's the guy. He's been pushed by Gibson, particularly of late. But
that's good, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
that camaraderie between those two is great, and the competition is even better because it's going to make him up his game. But this week, Hershey has 4 games. I would imagine Clay's going to get at least 2 of those, potentially even 3 if it all shakes out. 3 and 3s are a little difficult to go back and back with goalies, but he's going to get a heavy piece of that workload.
So Katie mentioned a minute ago, you guys are kind of middle of the pack there in the Atlantic Division. What has to happen for you guys to make sure you're in the playoffs?
2 things. I think against the opponents that are below us, we have to start separating ourselves and not playing down to them. There's a game against Hartford in here, and no discredit to the Hartford Wolfpack, playing them again this week. They're a team that the Bears were better than. They probably should have beat. They didn't have it that night. They didn't bring it. They weren't on their game. And then
consistency.
The consistency side of it, not overlooking anybody and doing the same thing that you do against a Wilkes-Barre or Providence. They're the top 2 teams in the division right now. Pretty clear cut. Both of them are cream of the crop. Things can change. You've seen it in the American Hockey League. Be good in the first half of the year. Everybody can get called up and you can wane going into the playoffs. You want to be surging going into the playoffs. So no matter what happens with the Capitals, with roster moves, with call-ups, you want to separate yourself from the bottom of the pack teams and start pushing those top 2. You might not get the bye like the Bears had. The way the AHL playoff works, 1 and 2 in the Atlantic gets a bye. It's going to be tough for Hershey to get there, realistically looking at it. They got a lot of games against those teams left, particularly Wilkes-Barre, that can kind of start showing that they can play with some of those top dogs.
You mentioned the second half of the season wanting several guys to start to maybe take that next step, but this first half, Eli Protas was the name, obviously named to the AHL All-Star Classic as well. So somebody else, if you had to pick one name to maybe break out this second half of the season or really become a difference maker for this team, who would you want or expect?
On the spot.
On the spot,
Yeah.
I like it. For me, it's defensively, I'm going to go with Cam Allen because I think there's a lot of offensive potential there for him. He's got wheels. He's got NHL caliber skating ability. We just saw in Charlotte, he wheeled off the right point. Reminded me of Christian Juice when he was down here in Hershey, Stanley Cup champion.
Sure.
No, he was never a long-time Capital, but did get his name on the cup where he had that elusiveness on the point. Allen, I think, has got the build, even though he's a smaller guy, that he can defend. He's got a little stockiness to his game. He's going to continue to grow that in the weight room, but I want to see him kind of just grab hold of that spot there. And I think for me, there are some players that can chip in some offense, but even if the Bears aren't the most high-flying team, they don't have the huge veterans. We mentioned no Frank, no Rempel is in the past. They've been able to win games when they've been really sound defensively and goaltending-wise, 2-1, 3-2 in past years. I'd like to see some of those young guys defensively take that step. So Allen, for me, could be that guy that really shows us a little bit more. And then I think on a less of a, I don't want to say prospect because he still is a prospect, but Bogdan Cherniev has really been good down here in Hershey. I want to see him dominate in the second half of the year and make it so hard for the Capitals not to have him on their roster either now or next season in that 3rd or 4th line. He got a taste of it now, but he's so better offensively than he was last season, the season before. We're seeing things from him that we haven't. We know he plays the game hard. We know he can penalty kill. Now he's adding some offense, so I think he could really break through on a guy that's maybe a little bit older, been around a little bit longer, that side of it.
Christian Juice. That is a blast from the past. I have never interviewed someone who is more short with their answers than Christian Juice. I'm sure you had the same struggles.
He's quick, and he's one of those guys. There's a few of them. I love Juicer's one of my favorites here in Hershey. That you would put the microphone in front of him, and you would get next to nothing.
20 seconds.
But before that, and if you're having just a conversation with them, you're getting absolute gold. Zach Sill, remember that name?
Yes,
very briefly at Capital. He and I'd have the best conversation in the world, and he was Mr. Cliche with his interviews, and he was just trained that way. So sometimes you get way too much. Spencer Carberry is often a guy when he was here that I'm like, I just need 7 minutes. I got 12. I gotta find somewhere to cut. But you love that side of it. Yeah. Christian kept it pretty short, but name on the cups. We'll be a Caps legend forever.
That's all that matters. Well, Zach, this has been wonderful. You are always such a wealth of knowledge about this team. So thank you so much, as always, for your insight, and good luck down the second half of the season. We will be keeping a close eye on the Bears.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks,
go
Zach.
Bears and go Caps.
And thank all of you for tuning in to another edition of Rink Report from here in Hershey, Pennsylvania. We'll be right back with you next week, a very special Olympic edition of Rink Report. Thanks, everybody.